Okay, this is the last of the 8 topics in the Minefield series. I would like you to really pay attention to this because I think this is probably the biggest problem that we have in society, regardless of whether you are a Christian or whether you're a non-Christian. This is one of the most, it's like an epidemic. So today, Anthony, can you just get the one light that's just over here? We're dealing with pornography. The printed or visual material containing the explicit description or display of sexual organs or activity intended to stimulate erotic rather than aesthetic or emotional feelings. That's a big definition. However, I think most of you probably know what pornography is. But I don't think a lot of people realize how this cancer has eaten into our lives. Our lives. And again, what we've done with every single topic in the Minefield, no guilt, no condemnation. Nobody's going to go around pointing a finger at you and say that you're a bad person because you're hooked. And it is being hooked. It is an addiction. Nobody's going to pass judgment on you because of this. We are here to get people to open their minds and hopefully step forward and try to get some help. This is no different whether you're addicted to cocaine, alcohol, or whatever. So, pornography is not an issue that is limited to dirty old men. Like anything that can be a problem, pornography hides well and affects many people. Again, this is one of the problems we have with this. We think that there is a limited group of people that it affects. That is not your average pornography user, but that's what a lot of people like to think. That it's some weird little twisted old man who's got all these weird things going on. It's not. It's you, me, everybody. Now this is where I want you to really pay attention because a lot of people sit there and say, why is he talking about this? I want to show you how widespread it is. Adults, children, everywhere. 64%, or 2/3 of U.S. men, and that's probably the same with Canada, admit to viewing porn at least monthly. 2/3. 2/3 of men watch porn at least once a month. So if we had 10 men sitting, if we went and just grabbed 10 men off the street, 7 of those 10 could very well be watchers of porn. When divided by age, 8 out of 10, 79% of men between the ages of 18 and 30 view pornography at least monthly. 80% of people between 18 and 30 are into porn at least once a month. 67% of men between the ages of 31 and 49 view pornography at least monthly. The older men are into it. It's not just, again, you got to pick, there's no lines drawn here. It's not you get sit there and say, oh, look at the young people. The young people are doing it. No, it's everybody. 50% of men between 50 and 68 look at porn monthly. Anybody that's got kids, anybody that's got teenagers, your own kids or your grandchildren, pay attention here. This is your kids. 90%, almost every single teenager is into porn. Don't be silly and sit there and say, oh, it's not my kid. If you sit there and say that, you are in denial. You're fooling yourself. 90% of teenagers have viewed porn. 80% of 15 to 17-year-olds have been exposed to hardcore porn. This is the really nasty stuff. 80% of teenagers. So when you think your kid is in their bedroom playing video games, don't bet on it. You are just being deluded. Okay, you go out and get in the kid's bedroom and all of a sudden they flick something. They're just shrinking the screen. Kids start watching porn at age 6. Age 6. It pops up all over the place. The porn industry is brilliant. They've got it set up where a kid does something looks like, wants to look at something about bicycles, but a porn site pops up, and kids with their curiosity go, oh, what is this? And off they go, and once they're into one site, the sites know, and you've seen this when you've looked at something, it pops up again. 100%. 100%. All of 9th grade boys and 50% of girls surveyed were found to be accessing porn. So the kids are going to high school. Mommy, Daddy, I need a laptop. Mommy, Daddy, I need a smartphone. Mommy, Daddy, I need a PlayStation, because PlayStation can have internet on it. 100% of boys, by the time they're in grade 9, have been into porn. Yeah, well, you say that it's men. Well, you know what men are like. Men have only got one thing on their head, right? So porn's just a man's problem. Guess again. Porn use among girls and women is increasing faster than men. Women are equal. They are now starting to get into porn just as much as men are. 56% of females aged between 13 and 24 are actively seeking porn at least once a month. Teenage girls. Over half of teenage girls are into porn. 28% of females aged 25 and over are into porn once a month. 1/3 of all visitors to porn sites are women. In the United Kingdom, 53% of women read erotica novels at least occasionally, and that's how the door innocently gets open. It's like we talked about a couple weeks ago with the occult. Oh, I only read the horoscopes for fun. You are cracking that door open. And I asked you, I said, what happens if this room is air sealed and there's smoke out the corridor and you open the door a little tiny bit? The smoke comes in. It will eventually fill the room. Evil smoke comes in. 100 million. 100 million people have bought mummy porn. The book, 50 Shades of Grey, and many more have read it, making it the fastest selling novel written for adults at all time. At least 100 million people have read Many Shades of Grey. a book about the joys and pleasures of bondage. And that's only the ones that have been bought. How many times has the book been lent around? So, I'm a Christian. Leave me out of this discussion, because I'm a good, clean Christian. I don't have this problem. It's all them heathen non-Christians. Wrong. Christians have got the same sins and same temptations as everybody else. And these statistics, I think, are going to blow your mind. 75% of Christian men view porn at least once a month. Good Christian men. There should be quotation marks around Christian. It's coming. 41% of Christian men. 41%. 41% of Christian men admit being addicted to pornography. As Christian men, what's the regular world like? Addicted to it. These guys are spending 2 and 3 hours on porn sites. 36% of Christian men look at it at least once a day. Once a day. A third of all Christian men. So if we had 100 Christian men, if we had a men's group here right now, statistically, 33 of those men in that group of 100 are on porn sites every single day. Among born-again Christians, which are the hardcore Christians, 50% indicated that they view it at least on a monthly basis. So people like myself, an evangelical Christian, if we had 100 evangelical Christians, because we like to sit there and say, well, you know, there's people out there who are, they say they're Christians, but they're not really Christians. We evangelicals, on the other hand, we are real Christians. 54% of us real Christians are into porn. That's scary. That's really scary. And of that, 18% of born-again Christians confess they're addicted to it. They can't stop watching it. And 68% are Christian women. And you always think that the women are going to be the good ones, the ones who are going to take care of the family, the ones that are going to be goody-goodies. No, the women are just as bad. 68% of Christian women admitted watching pornography frequently. Instead of reading Bibles, they're into porn. 55% of Christian women said that their viewing was out of control. Okay, now, this is where it's going to... When I did this message, I'm telling you, I had a really hard time with this thing. I swear that I thought I was going to have to go home and scrub my brain with steel wool. The more you get into this, the more you realize how much evil is wandering around this world and how much the enemy has got a hold of us in different ways. And this is one of the perfect ways that we get caught. As long as I'm not hurting anybody, I don't think that anything I do is wrong. I've heard this excuse for watching porn. I'm not hurting anybody. Get off my case and leave me alone. Now, that has got to be one of the biggest lies going. In 1 Corinthians 10:23, we have guidance. And in 1 Corinthians, it says, I have the right to do anything. That's right from the Bible. I have the right to do anything. However, people like to only quote part of this. But everything is not beneficial. I have the right to do anything. That's right. But there's another line. But everything is not constructive. The Bible lays this out very simply for you. Yes, you can do anything you want. You want to put your hand in a moving food processor? You go right ahead and do it. It's not the brightest idea. But God gives you free will to do these things. Here's another great one. I don't like to degrade women. I like women. I want to treat them nicely. But I like pornography. What? What a stupid statement. I like women. I want to treat them nicely, but I watch pornography. What are you talking about? Pornography, regardless of what you say, promotes violence against women. Oh, no, it doesn't. No, it's harmless. Here's a testimony from one former porn star. She tells us, guys are punching you in the face. You get ripped. Your insides can come out of you. You're viewed as an object, not as a human with a spirit. People do drugs because they can't deal with the way they're being treated. 88% of scenes contain physical aggression, spanking, gagging, slapping, and the list goes on and on. 49% of scenes contain verbal aggression, primarily name-calling. You bump it, Now the guys out there, or anybody that you know that's watching porn, after you see something like that, can you honestly tell me that you think that these women are enjoying themselves? Which is the excuse that men like to use. Oh, that's their profession, it's okay. Are you out of your mind? When you look at that kind of stuff, there is no human being likes to be treated that way. Now, this is where the steel wool really has to come out. And you better be aware of what's going on. I don't care if you've got, whether it's a man, a woman, whether you've got kids, whether you've got a boyfriend or girlfriend, or whatever, or it's yourself. This is the big area that's starting to take off in the pornography business. Behind every picture, there's pain. Pornography increases the demand for trafficked women and children. Sexual trafficking is a bigger problem today than ever before. This will not change unless we do something about the demand. You can buy a child for $10 in places like Thailand. And they can do whatever they want with the kid. And once the kid has been physically, mentally, spiritually destroyed, they just essentially throw them away and buy another one. $10. They either go into the film industry or they go to people to pleasure them. And there's another one of the problems with pornography. If I can get off on watching a film, how much better would it be in real life? If I watch a movie about the Rocky Mountains and I'm really enjoying it, would it not be better to actually go to the Rocky Mountains and see them? And that's what's happening in the pornography industry. In the pornography industry, 76% of the victims, 3/4 of the victims, haven't reached puberty. These are pre-pubescent kids. 10% of them are infants and toddlers. Child trafficking and slavery is increasing because of the demand of the porn industry. If there is no demand, it's the old thing of economics, supply and demand. If somebody wants something, somebody will provide it. In the porn industry, 33% of things that were seized had photos of children aged 3 or younger. A third of all the pornography materials that have been seized involve children 3 and younger. 42% had images of children that showed sexual violence. Child pornography is one of the fastest growing businesses online, with an estimated annual revenue of $3 billion. Child porn is where the big bucks and the growth is right now. Pornography involving kids 8 and under now is the biggest area in pornography. It's the fastest growing part. Over 50% of things that are being viewed online are being viewed watching children being exposed to sexual things. Over 50%. And the problem with this is people start with porn. I'm just watching, They start with the, quote, normal stuff. Then they go to maybe threesomes. It's like opening that door and letting the smoke in. One beer makes me feel good. I wonder what 2 would do. I wonder what 3 would do. I wonder what this child porn is. I keep seeing all kinds of sites for. Maybe I'll just check it out. Oh man. Children as young as a few months old, babies, are being targeted by child pornography offenders as they continue to seek even younger victims. The younger the better. On the streets in Cambodia and Thailand, little girls who are like 5 years old, those are the ones who are going for the big bucks. Young and they're virgins. Big dollars. Cash on the barrelhead. And there's no lack of customers. Doesn't hurt anybody, right? The average age of a victim is just 5 years right now, compared to 13 to 15 years old in the 1980s. So in the 1980s, if you were watching child porn, it involved teenagers that sort of looked like little adults. They had, the features of little adults. Now, the average age is 5. Child pornography is the fastest growing area, and the children are getting younger. The material is becoming more violent, and the abuse of very young children more frequent. They want to hear them scream as they're doing whatever they're doing to them. What's really disturbing is that the victims are getting younger. A lot of what we're getting now features children from a few months old to 5 years old. Now, it's pretty horrible that anything goes. Anything goes. Anything. The imagination is just insane what they can do. A lot of children in these images are clearly in distress, and it's very obvious the material has got a great deal more violent. Of the offenders arrested for child pornography possession throughout the year, 83% had images of children ages 6 to 12, which is a very scary statistic. You grab somebody who's got pornography, and you'd expect it to be just sort of normal pornography. But 83% of people who have been caught with porn have got the really young kiddie porn on their computers. And of those, 40% of them had images of children 3 to 5. 3 to 5. Kids who just barely learned how to walk, 3 years old. 19% had images of children under the age of 3. 3. What's this doing to relationships? This problem is destroying marriages. It's destroying couples, just dating couples. Any kind of normal male-female relationship is being torn apart by pornography. 56, right now, over half of the divorce cases had one person who was hooked on porn. That's creepy. Over half the people in divorces because of porn. 40% of those are sexually addicted, lose their spouse. So if a person is sexually addicted, is addicted to porn, 40% of them are going to lose their spouse. The porn is more important than their partner. More than 50% of porn internet users report losing interest in sex with their partner. And I married a couple this summer. And as they were going through marriage counseling, they told me with a straight face that they watch porn to improve their sex life. And I just thought, are you, guys, like, what are you doing? It's like playing Russian roulette. It's not going to improve it, it's going to destroy it, because there's all kinds of insane things go on in there that no normal people would do. 87% said that their partner's online cheating. I love this. Their partner's online cheating. That's the way people look at it. If I'm involved in pornography and my wife walks in on me, she views that as cheating on her. Which it is. You can't call it anything else. When you're having sex without her or him, what else are you going to call it? 41% call their partner's online cheating significant. There's a lot of people out there doing it. What are you doing upstairs? Well, I'm just checking my email. Oh, really? 35% had caused an end to the relationship. And for Christians, here's an interesting question to ask yourself. For Christians, if you're busy loving yourself, how much time do you devote to loving God? And again, we're not going to do this guilt trip, but it's something you got to ask yourself. I'm loving me. When do I love God? And in summary, use of pornography is increasing by men and women with Christians and non-Christians. So let's not sit there and do this holy roller thing. Oh, I'm a good Christian. I'm okay. Because it's all them dirty non-Christians. No. You realize that when Christian youth go to conferences in another city, the use of porn at their hotels spike. It shoots up like crazy. To feed the addiction and desires, pornography is becoming more violent and more perverted. Sure, let's throw a German Shepherd into the mix. More people are accessing child pornography. Children involved in pornography are getting younger. Sex trafficking in women and children is increasing due to demand. There's all kinds of people that are being pulled out of Eastern Europe, beautiful young women, this type of thing, who've been offered jobs as nannies and this type of thing. They're not nannies. They're being sucked into the sex trade and they can't get out of it. The guys have got them locked up. Perform for a year and we'll let you go. After performing in sex movies for a year, there's nothing really to let go. These women are just shells of themselves. Relationships where pornography is used are falling apart. As Christians, we need to remember the twofold guiding principle that we find in Matthew 19:4-7. Haven't you read, he replied, that at the beginning the Creator made them male and female, and said, for this reason a man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and the two will become flesh. So they are no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore, what God has joined together, let no one separate. Now look at the bottom, and this is incredibly important, and it applies to a lot of things, not just pornography. Sex is meant to be between a man and a woman in marriage, and not with yourself. This is not a do-it-yourself project. So, where is the church with pornography? Oh boy. This is creamy when I did this. This is 57% of pastors and 64% of youth pastors admitted to watching porn currently or in the past. This is one of the enemy's most effective tools. We are all sinners. We can be affected by temptation and the enemy. Sex is one of the most basic drives. Scientists will tell you that there's basically two things that drive humans: sex and food. Everything can be drawn to one of those things. Why do you go to work? To earn money to get food. Sex, husbands, wives, so on and so forth, those two drives. You're looking at one of the basic drives of human beings. So of course, what else is the enemy going to use? He's going to use sex to come after you. Of course, you get Christians. You got to watch Christians sometimes too. This is where you get the holier now. I don't smoke. You're talking to a non-Christian, somebody saying, I don't smoke, Heather, and I don't drink. No, she happens to, so she starts feeling guilty and just thinking, I'm not a very good Christian. Just like, but what we don't say is, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't cuss, but you should see the 3 hours at night I spend with my porn. Oh. So we highlight our selective saintliness. It's there. We are all affected by this. 53% of pastors do not think pornography is a problem in their church. Duh. Half of pastors you talk to, is pornography a problem in your church? Oh, no. Yet the statistics tell us 70% of men are into it, and about 45% of women are into it. These pastors, these 54%, they've got their heads in the sand. These, unfortunately, are the pastors, when somebody comes to them, say to the pastor, "Pastor, can I talk to you about a problem?" "Oh, yes, what's your problem?" "I'm addicted to pornography." "Oh, okay, well, let me pray it away, let me pray it away." These people are hurting, these people are crying. This is serious stuff. We have to take it on. The kids are getting involved in this. If this is the way it is now, can you picture what it's going to be like in 20 years? Like, it's just crazy. Here's the truth. 90% of Christians believe the church does not adequately support those struggling with porn. Almost all Christians. How is your church dealing with porn? They're not. They won't even mention the word. That's why we're doing this series. All these things, the occult, abortion, gambling, whatever, all these things affect our lives. And if we don't look at this as Christians and as leaders, we're wrong. We're not doing the job. This is as bad as walking by somebody who's had their arm cut off and saying, "Whoa, yeah, that's kind of bad. I better put a Band-Aid on that for you." You wouldn't do that to the person whose arm's been cut off. But that's what we're doing to people who are addicted to pornography. We're not dealing with it. And if we don't have these open discussions like we're going to have next week, and be able to have people comfortably come and say, "Pastor, I'm really embarrassed about this, but I'm hooked. I'm hooked. I don't care what your addiction is. I don't care what your addiction is. We've all got baggage." And this is one of the things we're going to look at in the conclusion of this whole series is, what do we do with this baggage? Unfortunately, in many cases, the church just sits there and goes, "You're bad. You're sinners. You're going to hell and burn in the lake of fire." What good does that do? We have to sit there and say, "I am a sinner. You are a sinner. How can we help each other on this journey? How can we use Jesus Christ and the Bible to make it less painful and to heal?" You gotta love this one. The most popular day to watch porn is in fact Sunday. "And on the seventh day he rested." I've got a day off. So you know what I'm going to do? Wow. So where do we go with this from here? First of all, as is the case with any problem, the person has to admit that pornography is a problem. The people who sit there and go, "I'm not hurting anybody. I can stop this at any time," those are the two biggest lies you can tell yourself. You are a fool if you're going to use those two excuses. You can't. You will stay addicted. And you have to want help with the problem. Now, I can talk about this, okay? Having come from my alcohol addiction, nothing was done with the alcohol addiction until I finally said to myself, "I cannot control this. This has got me. This is a problem." And nothing could be done until I admitted that. Pornography, drugs, alcohol, eating, relationships, whatever you happen to have your flavor of addiction, you've got to admit. Come and speak to one of us, and we will try to help you in a loving, confidential, and non-judgmental manner. There is help if you want it. I can guarantee you one thing in the Neighborhood Connections Church. You will never be judged. People can come in, and there's different ways of doing this. You come in and you say, Pastor Dave, I got a problem with pornography. You've just judged the person. You've just judged it. You haven't said, I didn't say anything. You most certainly did. Body language is great. You will never be judged by Dwight, Sam, myself. Okay? In this church, there is no judgment at all. I can guarantee that. No burning in the fires of hell. No throwing into a lake of fire. No. And secondly, just as important, whatever goes in those offices stays in there. I do not come running out and say to Dwight, hey, George, he's got such and such a problem. No, it's none of his business. If somebody has opened themselves to speak to me, or if somebody opens themselves to speak to Dwight, it is between those two. And so help me, I know this is not good. If I find somebody breaking that trust, I'll cut their tongue out. It's just wrong. That's where the church goes wrong. The church has hurt too many people by breaking trust and faith. I'm broken. I don't want you judging me. Why would I judge you? If I come to Heather and I want to talk to her about something really personal in my past, like when I was sexually abused, I don't want her running around to all her friends and have somebody come up to me and say, hey, Pastor Dave, I hear that you were sexually abused as a kid. Where did you get that from? I know damn well where she got that from. That hurts. I said, big hurt. This church, we've said it to you before, this is family. Family the way it's supposed to be. Christ wants us to love, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to love one. Pray for you.